just like we all predicted. In the biggest moment of the game, it'd be the senior Bryker Couser off the bench.
All right, we are here with Bryker Couser, Bryker the Dagger Couser, and we're sporting some Davis gear. So thanks for bringing this in here for us.
Of course,
so
yeah, I had to get you guys right.
So we've got some questions for you, and the reason I bring up the Dagger is you hit a Dagger 3, man, that just crushed the souls of Harriman fans across the world. So I want you to take us through that play, and as we're talking, I'm going to have that play up and playing. So what was the play call there, and take us through what was going on in your mind.
Yeah, sorry, Harriman fans, I guess. But so there was about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left, and we're up 3. And so Coach Sims calls motion control, which for us is just space it 5 out around the perimeter. We're just trying to chew some clock, get the shot clock down, and then we're going to have Coleman or JT drive to the rim, trust them to take a good one-on-one shot and hope they can make something happen. So we're in motion control and we're just kind of standing there. JT has the ball at half court and we're just waiting for the clock to go down. And then the clock hits 10, JT gets the sign, so he starts driving. And then the guy who is on me, he steps over in the paint a little too far. And JT, he's a great passer, so he reads that and he just kicks it to me over in the corner. And I knew there was only like 7-8 seconds left on the shot clock, so I was like, this one's going up, and just went in, and it was a great moment.
There's a picture of you taking that shot, which I think is an awesome picture, and going through that play as you watch it, it's almost as soon as JT starts driving and your defender, Zach, takes a step in, your hand goes up. And so you're signaling to JT that you're open and that you wanted that shot. And that's what I think is so cool, is that in that moment with all the pressure and all the fans and you guys have been down the whole game, you finally have a lead, you want that shot, which was so cool. And in the picture, the seams are aligned perfectly on your hand. Is that something that you consciously do when a ball comes to you to try to line up the seams, or was the pass just...
Yeah, so I've always tried to line it up, like a little bit of an OCD thing, I guess. And my dad actually used to get on me a little bit because I used to like move the ball around so it just fit perfectly in my hand before I shot it. And I'd waste like 3 or 4 seconds trying to shoot it in elementary school. He's like, just shoot the ball. And so I've kind of just always focused on that, just trying to get my hands on the seams. It just feels natural to me. And so I can just shoot it with confidence.
Yeah, that's something that my dad actually taught me to do, that is just a quick, and somebody else over here is doing the same thing. But
Yep.
It was just cool to see all of that happen in the same instance of you call for the ball, what you've been training for your whole life just kind of culminates in that big shot. And there's a lot of plays that happened before. There's a lot of stuff that happened after, but that was such a big moment in that game. At what point did you realize we're going to be state champions? Because it had to come before the final buzzer because of your lead. But was there a moment where you were just like, it's happening?
Yeah. So I remember it really clearly, actually. So I hit that shot and it was hype, but I knew it wasn't over yet. And so we went on defense. And then I remember after that, they missed, it was either a layup or a mid-range or something. And JT just jumped up and he just ripped down a rebound over 2 guys. And then he got fouled and we were in the bonus. And JT's a great free throw shooter. So it was like right then, there was under a minute left. We're shooting free throws up 6. I was like, wow, like we might actually win this thing. Like we're going to be state champions. And that was just such a great feeling. So much joy and relief just for all the hard work we put in.
Did you, so when you're in games like that, does the noise, I mean, the noise is always there, but is it kind of background noise? And at that point, did you realize, did your, I guess, senses open up to what was going on?
Yeah, it's weird. Honestly, when you're in a game like that, and once the game gets going, it all just turns into white noise. For me, at least. That might be different for other players, but to me, it's like I can just hear white noise. Like they get loud, they get quiet, like, but I can't make out anything people are saying. But then, like, once I knew that we had the win secured, like, it just felt like I was in the biggest stadium in the world. Like, everyone just cheering, student section going crazy, like, our bench players just lighting up. Like, it was just an awesome feeling, and I really just took it all in at that moment.
Take me through several of your players. For those who are watching just this one, we've interviewed. This is the fourth. You're the fourth teammate here. They've all mentioned the communication style of Coach Sims and this time last year planning for what we wanted and what you expected to happen this year. Take me through what that was like for you, your parents, and what your role was going to be on this team this year.
Yeah, so that's something that is pretty unique to Coach Sims. Is he's really a great communicator, and he's even like admitted that he's an over communicator, and that's just a unique quality he has. And so we had a player and parent meeting, I'm pretty sure like a week after the season ended last year, and he kind of just like brought the 8 varsity players we had into a room with our parents. Well, first he brought the 8 varsity players by ourselves, and we talked about like our roles and what we wanted it to look like next season. And then the next day we brought in all the parents too, and we had a parent meeting. And so it was kind of cool to see that at this point last year, like way before the off season even started, that everyone was starting to buy into their roles, and everyone was starting to take part in something bigger than themselves. And we just started figuring that out way before the season started. And for me personally, it was good because I knew that I probably wasn't going to be a starter. And it's always a little of a hard pill to swallow because you're a senior and you want to start. But Coach Sims just had great communication with me and Bennett especially. And he just told us that we're going to come off the bench, but we're not going to play like 3 minutes a game and have no part of the team. Like, we're going to come off the bench, and he's like, we're going to need you guys to come off the bench and produce something for us, because us having depth is going to give us an edge over some of these other teams. And just him communicating that just really helped me and Bennett through it, and it just made us confident in our roles that we could come off the bench and help the team, and we all had to do it together, the starters and the bench.
Yeah, and what a testament to you as well, right? I mean, just what we talked about that last play at the final moments of a state championship game, you're trusted to be in there and to make things happen and make the right things happen. Mm-hmm. Another one of your players, Bennett, had described, because you're all captains, the seniors are the captains. Even within the captains, you have different roles as captains. So what was kind of your captain role that you see it compared to the others?
Yeah, so mine was more of like a communication and like talking role. Like, I feel like I was always the person to voice my opinion first and try and get everyone engaged in conversation and try and get everyone's opinion, make everyone feel valued, because we only have 4 seniors. You know, you can't win a basketball game with 4 players. So we needed the underclassmen to be great for us. And I feel like my role was kind of to voice out to the underclassmen, be like, hey, like, what are you guys thinking? Like, how are you feeling about this year? And just make sure they were just as bought in as the seniors, because we just needed to do it together.
Yeah. Well, and Bennett said that you were kind of like the coach on the floor almost. Yeah. It's like you kind of be in there for them. So that's great. That's super awesome. Take me through your basketball life before high school. What was your youth like? Take 9, 10 years old. What was your basketball experience like?
So I got into basketball pretty early. I played junior jazz and all that, but I started playing competitively probably in first grade. And even all the way back then in first grade, I was playing with Coleman all the way back then, and Croydon and some other kids who were on the team earlier but not this year. And I just played AAU with my buddies and just grew to love the game all throughout elementary school. Then I got to junior high, made the junior high team, played junior high basketball, had a great experience, but I loved basketball and I've always loved basketball, but I definitely getting to the high school was like a next level thing. Like I didn't realize at first how much work and how much effort and how much commitment it was going to take compared to before high school basketball.
There's practice time, but then is it also time outside of practice?
It's definitely both. Obviously, the scheduled practices and the scheduled workouts are more intense when you're at the high school because it's more competitive. But also, it takes countless hours outside of that stuff to be great in a high school setting. You didn't have to necessarily spend that much time in elementary school or junior high to go out there and just shoot whatever shots you wanted, but it takes a lot more time and effort and commitment to be great in the high school level.
What did that look like for you? Is that going to a church or another gym or outside of the high school experience? How did you work on your game?
Yeah, so me and my dad would go to the church a lot, and that was a big help too. But one thing that I did a lot was I just got together with the other Davis kids, and we would just always try and play pickup together and just make it a live game setting to work on our skills, or we'd go shoot together, get a bunch of shots up on the gun. And so it was mostly just getting shots up, locking my shot in, and then playing pickup.
Nice. Take me through, what does pressure feel like to you? Not just the state championship game. You guys had high pressure moments with American Fork. You had high pressure moments in even preseason with like close games with Olympus or other teams. What does pressure feel like to you?
Well, obviously in those tight games, you get the butterflies in your stomach a little bit and you can feel the intensity and it's amping up. But in those moments, I feel like the work you've put in all those years leading up to those moments and outside of basketball kind of help you control those emotions, because the emotions get really high. But then I would always tell myself like, oh, I've taken these shots hundreds of times. I've played in hundreds of games in these exact same moments. Like I felt this before. So kind of the experience and preparation helped me deal with those like high intensity emotions that came in the pressure games.
On a previous podcast interview, Jared had asked this question. I want to ask you too do you ever feel afraid of failure? Do you ever feel afraid that if you do something wrong, that either your teammates, your coach, parents, cheerleaders, other opposing students are going to make fun of you?
Definitely. And especially for me, this was something I struggled with a lot in basketball. And even up until this year, I was afraid to fail and let my teammates down because they're some of my best friends. I was afraid to let Coach Sims down, afraid to let my family down in the stands, my friends who came to watch. And so it almost made me play more of a passive basketball game than I would have liked in my previous years. One thing I wish I did better was not be worried about failing, because this year I learned that even if you fail, it's okay and you're going to get through it, and it helps you grow even more than not trying at all. Because as a senior with my last year playing, my back's kind of against the wall. It's either like go after it or you're graduating after anyways and you're going to move on anyways. And so when I really learned to not be afraid to fail, I feel like that's when I made my biggest jumps in basketball.
As a senior now, has it hit yet that your last game on that Davis High floor is over?
Yeah, it's just been hitting me in waves, but it's definitely crazy. Like you think of all the time you put in, the countless hours you spend, like my life definitely became basketball for a long time, and I loved every part of it. And then it's just kind of crazy to think that like after spring break, I'm not going to be coming back to spring league and spring workouts and all that stuff. And I'm still good friends with all the underclassmen, obviously, but yeah, it's definitely a little bit of an adjustment.
Are there opportunities for you to still help the underclassmen in like a basketball class or anything like that right now? Or what does that look like for you for the rest of the school year at least?
Yeah, there is. They have a 8th period basketball class that they go to during school, and Coach Sims will have us come in and like talk to them, what we wish we did better, what we liked about last season, kind of help motivate them a little bit. And just like when we hang out outside of school and basketball, just having conversations with them about how they're feeling. And I feel like I can still be an influence on them because they can be great next season. So I'd want to be a good influence on them.
Yeah, you've got some studs coming back next year too.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like playing for Coach Sims?
Coach Sims, it's awesome playing for him. And one thing I realized playing for Coach Sims that I respect about him is he has his coaching style. and he's intense and he's honest and he communicates and he has his coaching style and he doesn't apologize for it. You just have to learn to adjust to play for him. And then once you know how to play for him, it's one of the best experiences ever. And it's definitely a trial learning how to play for him. But I respect that he doesn't apologize for how he coaches and he doesn't try and please everyone. He coaches to win and he wants to win. And you kind of just need to get under that same mindset.
Are there any coachisms from Coach Sims that you'll remember?
Oh, yeah. He has all his old school sayings that none of us understand. He's always like, I don't know if the other guys talked about it at all, but he'd always be like, he always uses one. He's like, you guys are either on the train or you're off the train. You either get on the train and you do what's going to help us win, or you get off because the train is moving. And that one was always funny. And another one that I thought was funny is he'd always say, guys, the hay is in the barn. We've already put in the work. We just need to go out there and play confident and play together. Like, you guys have been working for this forever. The hay is already in the barn. And he'd be giving these like motivational speeches and someone would be like, does anyone know what that means? So I'll just remember some of those things. We even got him a shirt at the banquet that had like all his quotes on it. He has some pretty good ones.
That's
I
awesome.
remember.
That's so fun. What is the relationship of like the assistant coaches, right? So the Coach Sims is there for a lot of stuff. A lot of times the head coach is kind of the bad guy in certain situations and the assistants are kind of like the good guys to come in. What did that dynamic look like on the team?
Yeah, well, the head coach takes he's like the quarterback almost, It's like the success or the failures on the team is always going to be reflected on the coach no matter what. But the assistant coaches do really well at being a supporting cast to Coach Sims. They're there coaching the JV and the sophomores sometimes in the off season, like helping with workouts. And they really just try and make a connection with the players to help and develop us, because Coach Sims can't do it alone. He's an amazing coach, but obviously it's hard to do alone. And so he has a great supporting cast helping him, just trying to take some of those tasks off of his hands and make a connection with the players so that he can just focus on helping us win. He doesn't have to worry about the other stuff outside of that.
Do the players know who Sean Green was? Like, are you guys aware of who he was?
Yeah, he tries to hide it and act like he wasn't a great basketball player, but we know that guy was amazing. He tore it up at Olympus, professional basketball player overseas. Like, that's such a small percentage of people that can do that. And so we really respect him for his game and his knowledge that he brings to Davis. He's
also, for the University of Utah, the all-time highest true shooting percentage at the University of Utah. So he's a little bit older than me, but I looked up to him when I was coming up.
Yeah.
I want to ask a couple of questions from Instagram real quick. How does it feel to have the best sister in the world? This is from Liv Edwards.
That's one of my sister's friends, huh? So she's just hyping her up. I'd say it feels pretty good to have the best sister in the world. Yeah, shout out my sister. She's great.
To kind of spin off of that, though, like, what does the family influence look like for you as a high school basketball player? What role did your family play in all of this?
They were great for me. Your family is always going to be on your side, even if it's a little too much. They're obviously biased, but my family was really good for me because my dad was always realistic with me after the games and stuff. Like, he would try and tell me what I could do better to help us win, and he would try and help point things out to me that I could improve on. He was never like, oh, it's fine, you're the best player in the world, you don't have to fix anything. And then my mom was always just really supportive, and she would always be there for me, making sure basketball was still fun for me. And my two little siblings were always there cheering me on at the game and stuff. So it's just really great when you have a good family to support you, because basketball is hard. High school basketball is hard. And when you know you have a supporting family to go home to, it makes all the difference.
Are you the oldest?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of pressure. How do you balance that of what you had mentioned your role in this aspect would be to come off the bench? You're still playing a big role, but then you also have like your friends and maybe your family that's saying, oh, you're good enough to start and all this. How do you juggle the opinions of family, friends, fans, everybody else versus what the team needs?
Yeah, and that's one of the hardest things to do in basketball, in my opinion. Coach Sims likes to call it filtering the voices. But it's really hard because those people care about you more than you could ever know. And they just want to be there for you and see you succeed. But what you have to realize is that the guys in the locker room that you're with, their voices are the most important during the season. Like the conversations you have with your teammates about like what you expect from each other and what you want from each other is more important than what you're being told outside of it. And so I would always just try my best to like take what my family and friends were saying and take what was useful from it and what I could implement into the Davis system and try and improve on it. And then just kind of like nod my head if some of my friends were like, you should shoot the ball 20 times a game. Because I'd be like, love you guys, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's great. Here's another question for you. Who communicates the most on the court during practice?
Not to hype myself up, but I would definitely say it's me who communicates on the court the most. I've always just tried to be a talker and get everyone else to talk because I've been a part of a couple quiet practices and it's just so awkward and you just know it's not right. Like communication is so big in basketball and unless everyone's talking and communicating, it's just not going to work out.
That was from Ian Vinberg.
Nice, and Ian.
Yeah. These two are kind of related. One of them, it's got all kinds of compliments, so we'll read that one. How are you so handsome, kind, intelligent, and great at basketball all at once? How do you balance being the Bryker Couser?
Is that from Kyle?
That's from Kyle.
Just do my best to be me every day, I guess. Thanks, Kyle.
Porter Hunt also asked, why do they call you Bryker Aura Couser?
Do you know what aura is?
I'm sure there's a slang version for it for you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just like being cool, I guess. Yeah, that's my cousin, so
all right.
Just hyping me up.
This one's a little bit more on topic. How did Bryker improve his skill set and confidence so much from sophomore to junior year?
I would say that the people around me had a lot to do with it. I had a lot of great friends and obviously my parents who were motivating me to be better because they could see my potential and they could see where I could go. And so they'd kind of motivate me. And then once I saw that I had that, it just like lit a fire in me and I just wanted to improve and be great once I felt that I had support and people believing in me. And Coach Sims gave me that too. And my teammates, obviously. So there's just a lot of great people around me who supported me. And then, once I felt that, I was like, I can be great. I can be just as great as anyone else on the floor. And I just worked super hard to fulfill that role.
That was from Adam Egan in Ace Athletics.
Yeah, that's my trainer. Great trainer.
Actually, we're the same age, he and I. We played against each other a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy.
He is. Take me through some of your teammates. What do you respect about the teammates that you got to play with this year?
I just respect how honest my teammates were and how honest we were with each other. If someone was falling behind or having an off day, like my teammates wouldn't be afraid to say that to your face and then at the same time like carry you along and pick up the slack. And they would always tell me when they needed me to be a communicator and when they needed me to step up and make a play. And I wasn't afraid to tell them that they needed to like communicate more or work harder and stuff like that. And so just having that honest communication just makes a team really great. And I really respect that about them. And then I also respect how much they care about me on top of communicating. Like they can say that stuff to my face and then we're going to go hang out after practice. Like there was never any bad blood. I just knew that they wanted to win and I wanted to win. And so we were just communicating to do so.
Yeah. Do you have any game day traditions? Or superstitions?
I don't really have any like superstitions, I guess, but I just have some lucky underwear that I wear.
Okay.
I wear the same pair of underwear like almost every game. Just my lucky ones.
All right.
And then I also take, if I don't get like an hour nap in between school and when I wake up and start game planning, then I feel like I play worse.
Yeah.
Like I have to just get off my feet and take a quick nap.
What's your game day playlist?
I was actually the music guy. I'd always bring the speaker, you know. I like a lot of music, but I really like hip hop before basketball. And so I'm just playing like J. Cole, Kanye, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, those guys, just get you hyped.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
We have an episode on our channel about our favorite basketball shoes. So what do you look for in a pair of basketball shoes, and what are your all-time favorite basketball shoes?
I really like shoes that my ankles feel supported in, because I wore ankle braces all season and all last season. And so I like shoes that I feel supported in, but then I also feel like aren't too blocky, like I can move in. So Adam Egan actually recommended me this pair of shoes called Serious Player Onlys. Those are my all-time favorite shoes. Those are so nice, and they have a bunch of different color varieties, and I really love those. But I also like Kobe 8s and Kobe 9s are kind of the same feel as the Serious Player Onlys. And then I would say my third are probably Kyrie's. I wore Kyrie's this season, and I liked them.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned this to some of the others, but I've kind of fallen in love with the book ones, so I've got way too many pairs of book ones.
Some D books, yeah. Those are
They're
nice.
good. The team, I think they had mentioned that you seniors had gotten together and you didn't have a team shoe, right? You could kind of pick whatever shoes you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the same with all equipment? Were like arm sleeves, headbands? Were there any rules around what you could or couldn't sport?
So we didn't want to look like a bunch of goofballs, We didn't want one guy going out there with like 4 arm sleeves and 2 headbands and all this unnecessary attention stuff. But you do want everyone to be comfortable in what they're playing. And, if a guy's running around in shoes that he feels like he can't play his best in, then why is he playing in them? That's not going to help us win, So we just had like color schemes. Like you had to wear certain color stuff and like certain color undershirts, but you could make it whatever brand you wanted. And there was like some leeway there, but we just want everyone to play comfortable and play confident, but not look like a goofball again.
You mentioned you wear ankle braces. Is that because you've had injuries in the past or just to prevent or what?
Yeah. So sophomore year, I rolled my ankle pretty bad in a spring game and I was out for a few weeks. And then the first day I came back, I rolled the other ankle and was out for a few more weeks. So I was like, okay, I got to do something about this. And then I saw that Steph Curry wears these ankle braces that I bought all 82 games of the NBA season. So I'm like, they must be good. So I just ordered those.
Nice.
Yeah.
I always struggled wearing ankle braces when I played, but totally get it. Take us through the realities of the high school experience. So for kids that are coming up who, to your point, have played on AAU or they've played recreationally, now they want to play on the high school team. What are the realities of what they should expect from the good, the bad, the ugly, like what's going on as a high school basketball player?
I would just say a couple things come to mind. The first one is that you're always going to have to work harder than what you think or what you envision. And you're kind of, when you first come to the high school, you're going to kind of get hit with like this unexpected amount of work you have to put in because you're not really going to see the results you want immediately. And what I mean by that is everyone comes to the high school thinking that they're going to like play immediately or score 20 points a game immediately. And you're kind of going to get hit with some of those things aren't going to happen when you want them to happen. And you're just going to need to work harder and put in more work than you think. And the other thing I'm thinking of that kind of ties with that is that everyone runs their own race in high school and everyone peaks and matures at different times. And so just don't get frustrated with yourself. Like some people are more ready to play varsity basketball at different times than others. Like Coleman played when he was a sophomore and Bodie played this year as a sophomore. But then like me and Bennett didn't really play till our senior year. And JT didn't really play till this year, his junior year. And so you're going to play varsity when you're ready at the right time. And so just keep working hard and just keep doing everything you can to show the coaches that you're trying your best to be ready. And then when you're ready, you'll get that opportunity and it'll be great, Because that's one thing I wish I did a little better was I'd get frustrated with myself sophomore and junior year when I wasn't playing as much varsity as I wanted to or not playing varsity at all. And I wish I just would have had more of a open perspective about like, oh, I still have lots of time to play and like lots of games ahead. I shouldn't get frustrated with myself right now and let it affect my games right now.
Yeah. What does the future look like for you?
So for me, I'm just going to serve an LDS mission in the summer, starting in the summer. And I'm going to the Philippines.
All right.
Yep. And then
is it Tagalog that you're going to?
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then I'm just going to get back, go to college, get an education, just focus on school and playing some men's leagues,
Nice.
I still love hooping, but I'm not like chasing after it.
So it's a little bit cheating to ask this question because you guys are the champs, but was it all worth it? All of this effort and all of this time and all of this work that you've put in to your basketball season, now that it's your career from a high school perspective is done, was it all worth it?
I would say it was worth it. And obviously it helps that we won the state championship, because then who's not going to say it was worth it? But just being real, some of like our teammates were talking and we were just saying, like, after the game, after the state championship game, we were like, man, even if we lost that game, like, what an opportunity to play at the U in a sold out stadium in front of the whole community in the biggest stage in high school basketball in Utah. Just what an opportunity to be able to play in that game, like win or lose. Like, just all the hard work we put in to get there was worth it. And I'm super pumped that we won. And that was one of the best feelings ever. But just getting there just made it worth it.
When do the rings come?
They should be coming in the next 2 or 3 weeks here. They're pretty sweet. Yeah. Have you seen them yet?
No.
I got to pull up a picture real quick.
Yeah, you'll have to send it to me and we can put it as like B-roll over the us talking.
Okay, I will.
This is kind of like the question I like to end all of these with is if you were to have a time machine and go back to freshman Bryker Couser and you're having a conversation with him, what advice would you give him?
I would just tell my younger self and all the freshmen coming in to just believe in yourself, because you get into this high school world and like all the seniors are way more mature than you and all the varsity players are kicking your butt in practice and stuff. But I would just tell myself to believe in myself more, because like you're supposed to get your butt kicked as a freshman a little bit, and that's actually good for you. So getting down on yourself isn't going to help in that situation. And then I would also say to just, I wish I was more observant, because when I came in as a freshman, we had a really good varsity team that year with like Rex Sunderland, Colby Sims, and those guys. I wish that when I was on the bench watching their games, I wish I would have observed more what they were doing and maybe had more conversations with them on how they were being successful, because you can learn a lot from the seniors and the people on the varsity team. And I've tried to help the underclassmen like learn from what I've learned this year. But that's one thing I would mention too, is just be really observant while you're there.
Have you come to that realization of those guys that you looked up to as a freshman as you are that guy?
Yeah, it's crazy. It goes by so fast, and it feels not long ago at all that I was the freshman looking up to the seniors and like just getting into the high school basketball world. And then it's like, zip, here we are now. Now I'm the one graduating, trying to pass on my wisdom to the underclassmen before I leave.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And just as an old guy sharing this with you, is you never know who's watching. And so right now it's this world of Davis High School and the basketball and everything else. But then as you go on your mission and you get into life, people are always watching you. So you're a stud. Thank you for taking this time and being a good example to all these kids that are coming up, and not just freshmen, but you've got elementary school kids that are just looking up to you and think the world of you. So thanks for being the guy that you are and sharing.
Of course, no problem.